back to our lovely, lovely subscribers, viewers, the rest of y'all.
And the randoms who stumbled upon here.
Yeah. Welcome
Girl.
back, friends and enemies.
Friends and friends and foes. We're going to be talking about Grammys today, about Degas.
I love how you're like, we're talking about Grammys today, like Grammys, like grandmas.
Is it not?
The Grammys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just cute.
Am I
'cause
saying
you're
it
like,
wrong?
No, it's just cute because you just said we're talking about Grammys today.
Not me every single time. I'm like, am I just not hearing it or something? Degas.
We gotta say we're talking about the infamous. I don't even want to say it's an outfit. It's lack thereof.
Yes, Censori. That's not censored. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And because of that, we're going to be talking about the female nude in art.
Wow.
Because this is the beginning of the podcast and I'm going to forget to do it at the end, I got to say immediately, like and subscribe.
I have to say immediately.
Yes. Give us 5 stars on whichever platform you're listening. Quickly. Not me, like,
Do it.
literally jumping the throat, like,
Even though the nude is not anything new, it's like fucking art history 101. I think this is actually, I mean, it's not an unserious topic, to be honest,
no, it's not.
but it's definitely like interesting to look at its importance from the past till now when but we'll talk about it. We'll get into it later.
And how fucking little has changed.
Yeah.
Even though we've been fucking fighting for our rights for 300 years. I mean,
Yeah.
we've always been doing that, but yeah, I guess like fucking thousands of years. This is so not hopecore.
Yeah, I think we've been in a little bit of a vortex for the past couple years, but we'll get into it.
Girl, there's a reason as to why I'm so pissy about this too. And it is the fact that I released a video that was called The Age of Losers. I was talking about, what's the name? I'm glad. Elon Musk and Mr. Beast. And specifically not about even just them as much as the culture, the grind culture that is fueling this fascist bullshit. Like, it's all connected. It's not just like them in a vacuum. It's very much related to who they are, who those people who are following them are. And unfortunately, people that follow them have found my channel.
Yeah, to
and
be
they've been,
expected.
yeah,
Legion
and they've been
of losers.
annoying. Yeah, literally legion of losers. And nothing makes me more sure of this, of them being losers and of Elon and whatever being losers, as actually reading the comments of these guys. The amount of people who literally cannot keep it together. Like, this guy just like, I don't know, I think you're seeing men in this spotlight because women don't create anything.
Bitch, a woman created you. You're dumbass.
Let's fucking start there. But also the funniest thing is him using Wi-Fi when a woman created Wi-Fi. A hot one at that. A hot actress that was a fucking Hollywood star created fucking Wi-Fi. Using women created Wi-Fi and being a little bitch while using it is absolutely insane. Well, also, like, I honestly, you have got to be the dumbest bitch alive to when you talk about someone who was excluded forcefully from even being educated, allowed to be educated. And you're like, well, you didn't create this thing. Yeah, because you were killing women for even reading. So what the fuck are you on about? I should kill you, actually. How about that? I think, honestly, they are awakening. Well, it's always awake, I guess. I'm always kind of aggressive a little bit.
What?
But it's just like, I don't, I love cute shit. And I love cute things in general and living in really adorable circumstances, like
yeah,
with
but they're
my
making
adorable
murder
friends.
seem cute now.
That's straight up it. Like, they're giving me no choice but to be vicious.
Yeah,
How about
it's
that?
crazy.
The amount of people who are, like, the amount of men who went to the comment section talking about gender, and it's like, why are you making it, like, seriously, no one even brought up gender. That's how stupid they are. The amount of people who came into a conversation about economics, I literally talked about data and our wealth distribution in Canada, right? And they come into this video that's about wealth distribution, and they're commenting, so who should we follow? The OF models? You have brain rot. You're literally
Relevance?
brain dead. And seriously, what's wrong with them that they're thinking about porn 24/7?
I do
24/7, you guys. Like, seriously, there's like, I don't think they're saving them. Genuinely, because who on the fuck of the earth wakes up and thinks about porn, goes and watches a video of someone talking about wealth distribution in Canada with pie charts and shit and comments about OF models? Who?
It's actually derogatory.
Someone is like, women having choice in the first place is an anomaly, and what led to the decline you're complaining about.
What?
And it's like, I will kill you. Sorry
I want to.
On top of it all, the amount of people who just like start commenting, first of all, don't understand the video to begin with. Like, they are just commenting about something completely off base, but they started by being like, lose weight first before saying this. What the fuck does weight have to do with this? I could be 60 kilos more and I would still be saying this shit and you would still be a loser. How about that? Like, what do you think this is? Who do you think you're talking to?
I don't know why they keep saying stuff like this. Like, why do you keep proving my point? Do you have an embarrassment kink or something? Like, cause why do you keep proving my point that you are a loser?
There were a lot of good comments too, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's just God. Like the bad ones are so diabolical in terms of not even what they say about me. Because like, honestly, when people I don't like me, it's kind of like a compliment. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel.
If the people I hate me back, yeah.
I'm doing something right. If a pedophile points at you and goes, I hate this bitch, it's like, oh yeah.
Good.
Oh hell yeah. It's low key, it just like makes my heart sore. I don't know, I feel like they genuinely don't understand that, like, maybe we just have a cultural difference here, I don't know, but I love being hated by people I don't like a Nazi hating me. That sounds wonderful. Actually, it sounds like a bliss. If the first person that comes to their mind when they think about someone who they hate with their entire being is me, that's low-key beautiful.
Yeah, it's poetry.
It's low-key, I don't know, it just like makes me giggle and throw my hair and like, I don't know.
To anybody who is struggling with people pleasing tendencies, I know I struggle with that. Remember this. It's good to be hated, okay, guys? It's good to be hated.
WWLD. What would Lisa do?
Yeah.
Lisa would be happy.
So, you know what?
In some cases, you can replace it with what would Lennon do. That would also be a good person. Because he would also fuck them up. Let's be real.
Our two Lord and Saviors. Yeah, so
put me in the mausoleum right next to him when I go.
When I die, bury me face down so the world can kiss my ass, okay?
Oh, also, I got like actual on my video too, being like, they literally commented, and this is the funniest part to me, is that they come into my video, and I think because they think, like, since I am white, I feel like they feel too comfortable, and they come in and they're like, well, race is the most important thing. Like, they're trying to have a conversation with me, and he has like a literal swastika in his fucking profile picture. So like, it's not like it's not like it's like a person of color who's talking about like the influence of race on your life, and it's how it can put you in a marginalized position or whatever, because like you're living in a white supremacy. No. This is a motherfucker who's like, Lisa, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Like, a race is the only thing that matters. Like, and someone commented under it being like, can you follow your leader and die already? And I liked it.
Yeah, I was like that too. Fuck it.
Sorry to say.
I might go to the comments later.
Actually, not even sorry to say. Proud to say. Joy to say. This is not what we're going to be talking about forever, obviously. Like, I don't want to eat up too much of our time with this, but it's just so insane that a lot of people who are following me on my main channel literally were like in Discord being like, what the fuck is going on? Who are these people?
Literally.
Because it's just like, it's just not normal for like the ecosystem that we got on the channel to have that many losers around, you know? Like, we have pretty chill people there who are smart and have hearts that function. The amount of comments I got of people being like, you are like these guys, and comments like, actually, it's insane to hear a rich person telling poor people not to look up to rich people. And I'm like, since when am I rich? Seriously.
Dude, the fucking opposite, buddy.
Girl, what was it? I showed you a comment. I sent it to my assistant. I was like, what the fuck is this? Because like they made assumptions, a million of them actually. And the funniest part about it is that
There's so
for
many
some
funny parts. Like,
this person came in and they're like, as someone who comes from a poor country, never ceases to amaze me the constant whining of obviously rich Western children. Everything you own, all of your opportunities, your education, the free time you have to do deep dives on Buffy is because you live in immense privilege. Okay, I literally responded being like, so first of all, I'm not a Westerner. English not my first language, bitch. I don't know what to tell you. Not only is it not my first language, I'm also not from any of the countries that are considered to be the West. So, don't know what you're talking about here, but okay. Second of all, I'm not a child. When will they stop they calling me a child? It's crazy. And also, I'm not rich. There was like at least 3 comments calling me a descendant of aristocrats. Where'd you get that from? I'm literally from one of the countries that actually killed all of their aristocrats. Well, not all of them, but the ones that were being bitches, you know?
They didn't have any real good arguments, so that was just the easiest way to...
I was like, no, I'm actually a descendant of people who killed them. But okay.
Even if you were rich and whatever, it's like, at least you're still talking about these topics.
Also, I would never be rich like those guys because I would never abuse children in the mines somewhere in Congo just so I could make more money on things that I could have purchased from them for fair wages.
Yeah. Why are people saying things so confidently? Like,
that's the funny thing to me. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you just like assuming this shit? And you know what? I think that also I'm like so not used to having a male audience, especially cis and straight male audience. My audience is 90%. I think it's like 87% women. And then the rest who are men are gay. Hi, gay. I hope you're having a good time. What is going on?
Because it wasn't me.
I'm in a mood to fight. That's why we spend fucking 15 minutes fighting. Or not fighting, but telling them off. If you're a freak like that, I ain't talking to you. Let's start there.
You're not even worth anyone's time.
No.
I'm sorry.
I did have to respond to them quite a bit because I needed my video to keep going in the algorithm and they were disliking my videos. By the way, this is a reminder to everyone, if you like my videos, please like them, because people who don't like them, like freaks like this, they will definitely dislike them and report me and other things like that. Like they try to definitely get you in trouble with YouTube or get your career fucked over and whatever. But regardless of all of that, I needed my video to keep going in the algorithm. I needed that to happen because I was kind of bracing myself for the vet appointment. And also my tooth, I didn't tell you guys, I don't think. My tooth is fucking falling out. The front tooth, by the way, which is absolutely fantastic. Who doesn't love to be toothless before 30? Like, who doesn't love that? That's just fantastic. But yeah, my tooth is literally moving back and forth. A whole fucking centimeter back and forth. The bitch is barely in my mouth.
Her tooth is hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, my tooth is barely there, and I need an implant, which is gonna be $5,000 with change.
Crazy.
By change, I mean like $500 more or whatever the hell. Like it's like 5.5K. And in what world having teeth, especially the front ones, is not a necessity? It's not like a medical need. Apparently that's what our government thinks, by the way. Eyes, being able to see and being able to chew is not your human right.
Yeah.
Viagra is, but having teeth, not so much. Yeah. You don't need that.
There's
anyway.
Still smoothies.
Bitch.
There's smoothies and straws.
So I'm gonna be what is it called when you're like, you have like, I'm gonna have a lisp for a bit. And that bit is like a year. Anyway, but the reason why I'm still kind of chipper today is actually, you guys get ready. This is good news for all of you. Pika had a sarcoma, okay? So that's bad, but it's type 1, which means that it is in that area only. And it's the type of thing that doesn't metastasize, and only if it comes back in the same spot. So I would be able to see it. So Pika is totally fine. Pika is amazing. She's
Everybody
doing really
clap.
well. She's doing really well. They took out a really big chunk in her armpit, but she's already doing so well. It all healed. She's honestly like a super puppy or something. Like, it's crazy. She's so good at
She's
all of this, and
invincible.
she's perfect, and I love her.
She also said she's gonna outlive capitalism.
Yeah, she said fuck all of them. And I love her so much. Yesterday when I heard the news, I was so nervous before we got to the vet, and like when I was in the office, and then as soon as they told me like it's fine, like she's gonna be okay, I was in such a fog in terms of my mind. You know, like when you're really stressed and then you kind of release that stress, that it makes you feel like you're in some kind of fog for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So we didn't film yesterday because I was just like under influence of being happy that my dog is okay.
Anyways, let's get into the topic, girl.
The Grammys happened, and the reason why we're kind of tying it into Degas conversation is because Chappell Roan wore a dress that has it's from Jean-Paul Gaultier, right?
Yeah, I believe it's
2003 collection, I believe. That dress has Degas painting on it, like as a print. I don't know if she knows about Degas and how misogynistic he was.
Yeah.
Like aggressively so. Not like a level that you expect from every single man, even those that are trying. He said misogyny and me. He said misogyny and me.
Me. That would be the title of his biography.
And then in brackets right next to it, and anti-Semitism. Just to cap it off, you know, just to make sure that he covers all the bases.
Just so you know where he stands, you know?
One of the things about his paintings that kind of both pisses me off, actually just pisses me off, just because I think his paintings are pretty. The color, the way that everything is rendered. And I do love the aesthetic of like dancers and the rehearsal rooms and all of that stuff. But the type of sadistic inclination that these paintings have when you start paying attention, closer attention to what's going on in the painting, context of it all is what's making it so gross.
Yeah, it's definitely the context of dancer and ballerina obsession he has, especially the behind the scenes, and is definitely
it's not about like him caring about the actual pas de deux or whatever the hell they're called, or pliés or whatever the fuck. It's more, it's not him loving the art form of ballet. It's him exerting his power over the dancers, because back in the day, dancing, especially like ballet dancing and stuff like that, the dancers were like, they were abused quite harshly, and not just in terms of like discipline that dance requires as an art form, but because of how closely prostitution and dance was intertwined. And it was the same for opera singers, for basically any woman that was in the performing arts. It was pretty much a given that they would be abused because they weren't paid very well, and also they had a lot of like people obsessed with them, a lot of stalkers, and to have some kind of protection, they had to be constantly in some kind of relationships with men, and they never had agency because it was kind of, it's either this or death, basically. Like, it was kind of always this type of exchange, you know?
Right.
And it was always also a lot of young girls, a lot of girls who, like, for example, his statue, one of his most famous statues of the little dancer. Yeah, who's like 14-year-old girl. It's the pose that he chose. Like, it's not fucking Murakami, where you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, you freak. But it's like all on the surface. Oh, he made her have boobs that are twice the size of her head. It's more like, oh, this guy is obsessed with, like, he's enjoying it way too much, the fact that these girls are locked into an industry that's so abusive to them. Like, he enjoys to see this child with no agency in pain. Like, the statue, like, there's a lot of things that have been written about it. You can look it up if you want to go into this particular work and kind of understand why people read it that way. But it's the fact that she kind of, I believe that she has her eyes closed, right? Doesn't seem nefarious when you look at it. But then when you really pay attention to it, I feel like, yeah, her eyes are closed. Something about it, like something about all of his work and even this statue, because the thing is, statues are obviously 3D, so you can't really make a subject of your sculpture voyeuristic if the statue has their like eyes open. Because in the painting, you can paint them in a way where they don't know that they're being painted, or they're looking away or something like that from the foreground, or not even foreground, but the audience, let's say that way. So you can control the fact that there's no direct eye contact with the audience. When it comes to sculptures, you can't really do that unless you're gonna close their eyes. And he's so voyeuristic about it. And this is I know that for some people who don't really study art history or don't really know a lot about art history, this conversation might seem to you like we are reading too far into it, or we're reaching in terms of assuming that if the subject is not looking into the camera, in quotations, you might assume that we're kind of pulling it out of our ass by saying that it shows that they don't have agency. But in reality, this is a convention for those painters and those sculptors. Like, it was a thing that they discussed. It was a lot of people who were in the art industry. They weren't making stuff in a vacuum. They weren't making it in critical vacuum, in terms of like not having critics as friends, or not having this like talks, or consistently having this art gatherings and stuff like that where they were discussing this shit. Like, it was a thing that they discussed in their letters to each other, in things that they published at the time. So it was a convention. It's not like we're assuming it. It was a thing that they discussed.
It's not like a hidden fact. I think with the statues, maybe it's a little bit harder to interpret it that way, or like see it in the way that we're talking about. But if you go look at his paintings, which is interesting because the painting that Chappell Roan had on her dress is a really famous one. But like, if you look at majority of his paintings about the ballet, you will often see a man in a suit in the background or in the foreground. I mean, it's really obvious that they are there just to voyeuristically, as you said, ballerinas and dancers and performers at the time also had to do sex work. And like, he was very blunt about that in his paintings. He definitely wasn't trying to cover it up. I feel like even in the point of view in which the paintings are made, they're often like, I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing it this way, but I often feel like they're from slightly below, like right in front of the stage, slightly below, looking upwards. And to me, that's always been a very voyeuristic point of view to paint in, and or take photographs.
A lot of paintings that he's done, they're not even in a concert hall. A lot of them are behind the scenes in the rehearsal rooms, and they're always most of the people in the room, if not all of them all the time, from my perspective, like from what I remember, because I looked at the paintings to refresh my memory yesterday, but I'm not gonna tell you that it's 100% because I don't think I remember every single fucking painting that he's done. But the ones that I have refreshed myself on and stuff like that, the dancers don't actually confront the painter, the onlooker, ever with their own gaze. It's always like they're just dancing, they're doing their thing. It's as if as if he took like a sneaky picture of them.
Do you know that's why it's so sinister.
Yeah, like, it's never he's never confronted for existing in their space.
Yeah, you're right. It usually is like them during rehearsals and stuff like that, or like they'll be on stage, but it's them on their downtime or whatever. And even if it is like them fully dancing and he's like capturing them actually performing, it's always in an angle where you can kind of see what's going on behind the stage. And there's always like 99.9% of the time, there is always men in a black suit, one or multiple, just looking at them in this more private way. That to me has always been really fucking disturbing. Like, it's clear as day. He's not trying to hide it. He is very straight up about it, and he probably was partaking in it.
So he's been openly violently misogynistic. A lot of his letters included a lot of graphic shit in terms of how he felt about women, and same about Jewish people as well, by the way. With the sculpture, First of all, yeah, she doesn't confront the onlookers with her gaze. Even as a sculptor, that's like you have got to
With her
think about it.
gaze.
So with
Sorry.
the gaze, you have got to
So
like think
stupid.
about it so hard to figure out a way to make this sculpture where she wouldn't confront you, because it's genuinely almost impossible to do with sculptures because it's a 3D model where they have to be looking somewhere. So
Hmm.
yeah, maybe most of the angles she wouldn't be looking at you, but there would be at least one angle where she would be.
Hmm.
In this case, she's not doing that anyway. And one of the things that kind of creeps me out the most about this is that this sculpture, in one way, it's kind of innovative, but in another way, it's really creepy. The fact that the clothes and the hair on it is actual clothes and hair that was covered in wax. It wasn't actually sculpted. Like he didn't
Yeah,
sculpt it onto her. And the
I
worst
forgot
part
about that
about
point.
this, yeah, the worst part about this is that her body is sculpted under it, which is like, why do you have to, like, it's not even sculpted as like a doll in a sense of like kind of like a Barbie, where it's just kind of like just the shape, the form.
Yeah,
It's very much here's
anatomically.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
it's like, why
yeah.
do you have to do that for a child?
Yeah, it's like he's not just sinister in like the actual like things he depicts in his work, but a lot of what is truly sinister is the way he goes about it. He actually
Yeah,
sculpted that with his hands or
yeah.
whatever. And those
Well,
photos of the or the paintings of the ballet. Okay, maybe not his hands. I forgot what method he used. But like even with the ballets, like he is there watching them as well. Like it's not just
it's
what
like,
he
why are you
depicts.
there? Why are you
It's his
there? Why
process.
would you
It's his
be there?
process. Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, it's also, you know what? It's kind of like, if you don't quite understand why this is freaky, just imagine him doing that to a grown man. Like, not sculpt him with clothes on, with his jacket or whatever, but sculpt his balls and his fucking dick and all of his hairs on it, and then just put pants on him out of clothes. What's the point of sculpting him naked and then putting clothes on him if you could have just sculpted him with clothes on?
On. Yeah.
D-
And that
Does that
that's
make
the
sense to you now? To those people who are like, I don't know if that's creepy. Think about it this way.
which is inter like with that context of like who Degas is and what his work really speaks to, it does make me wonder why specifically she chose this dress in particular, or if she even had that knowledge to begin with. I haven't seen her
I have
speak.
a feeling that she doesn't.
Yeah, I feel that too in a way.
Most people don't.
Yeah,
When I talk to
which
people
I
about Degas, like people who say that he's their favorite artist, they never know what the fuck I'm
he's
talking about
about.
when I start
Yeah,
talking about it. Yeah, they're always like, a what? Uh-huh. Like they're always
yeah.
confused as shit, and it's kind of like, I'm not mad at them for that for
Yeah.
any reason. I know that people are always like, you like people are always jumping to this conclusion that you're canceling people fucking in real life, real time, like canceled for not knowing something. But it's like, I understand why people would like it. It's in the sense of the composition and the colors, and it's also just
Mhm.
like very much like middle of the road type of art that's kind of really easy to like unless you start looking into it a lot deeper.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
But it,
Monet.
yeah, yeah, totally. It's like
Except
Monet.
except except not even about his like, I wouldn't say Monet has the same issues as Degas. I'm just saying that he's very much easy to like, especially
Yeah,
for us nowadays, because back then their art was like, oh my god, it's impressionism and this is
I
such a
think, yeah,
detour
I
from
think,
what we're used to.
yeah, I think Impressionism is just easy to like based on how it looks pretty. The colors are
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
Like
It's like, I'm not gonna
aesthetically,
jump
it's
on your
nice.
throat for you if because you looked at it and you were like, oh, the colors here are so
Yeah, I
well
mean,
balanced and whatever. It's like, yeah, like no shit. Like you're right.
yeah, I
It's not
think,
like you're wrong.
yeah, I'm not clocking her on it at all. Like she looks great. She looks like it's a great look for the Grammys and all that other stuff. I think it's just interesting. And in a way, kind of thinking about it, probably overanalyzing it
Hmm.
obviously, as I always do. It's also kind of like, even if she didn't know about it, it's just interesting that she's wearing this dress that has this artistic connotation to the Grammys on this big stage. where she does her speech and kind of calls out big record companies and what do you call them? Record companies? Not record companies. Labels.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, these
record
record
labels.
labels and calling them out for like abusing artists and stuff like that. And I just found that very interesting. Oh,
Yeah, I
she's
wonder. I wonder if she's thought of that, but I
mhm.
honestly, I'm gonna assume not really. I think that she probably
Yeah.
was just thinking that it's a pretty painting
And it's
and
Jean
it's
Paul
a pretty
Gaultier.
dress and it's Jean Paul Gaultier. I
Yeah.
love that work from like the early 2000s. Jean Paul Gaultier from early 2000s just slaps. But Chappell Roan got a lot of people pissed off at her again. Like a lot of people, honestly, again, fucking incels always pissed at her, and I think it's because she's just not catering to the male gaze, and it's pissing them off.
She's catering to the male gaze.
The gaze. She gave like a speech about how a lot of artists, they don't have healthcare, they don't have
Hmm.
benefits. You're basically in the gig economy for the rest of your life. Even if when you have contracts with big labels, they don't give you basic workers' rights, which is
Yeah.
absolutely like it's weird. It's weird as ball. Listen, if you don't know about the entertainment industry, like about different types of unions that exist, there are unions for a lot of people. For example, for directors, for producers, for different types of artists, where they're in a union because this way they can all have benefits and they can negotiate together and have more leverage. When Chappell was talking about this, she's basically being like, you are big corporations, you hire us to make music for you, and just because you didn't do like you didn't do your part of the job in terms of actually making my music successful, because the thing is, you can make anything successful if stupid ass mid ass music gets successful just because they show it everywhere. That means that those big fucking companies, especially as big as the record labels that people like Chappell Roan and Sabrina
Hmm.
Carpenter are signed to, you can make it successful. If you didn't make something successful, or at least medium successful, that means you didn't do your job as a promoter, as a person who is a producer and stuff like that. But regardless of all of that, she didn't say that part. She didn't like blame them for anything. She was just like, listen, we're doing our best for you. We are actually like putting all of our energy and stuff like that for this contract that you give us, right? So why don't we have any rights? Why don't you have our back in terms of giving us healthcare, in terms of giving
Hmm.
us like RRSP fucking contributions and other things like
Yeah.
that are pretty I guess it's 401k or something like that for Americans, right? Like why don't we have all this shit that's normal for even people who are working for smaller companies, for companies that don't have as much revenue coming in, right? She's right. And also, the reason why we have so many Nepo babies too is not just because they have connections, but because they're the ones who can afford to stay in the industry even when they don't get paid, even when they don't get healthcare, because they're not going to die. They're not going to die from some kind of preventable disease
Hmm.
because they have the money to go and pay up front, even if
Yeah,
they don't
studio
have
time,
the yeah, if
producers,
they
all of that.
don't have the insurance, they can still go and see a doctor. Especially in America, it's so depressing. I don't know, guys, how you live there, honestly. Like, I feel
Yeah.
bad for you because it is just so depressing to have to think about, oh, can I afford to go see a doctor? I'm mad that I can't get my tooth fucking replaced properly here, but this is
Hmm.
dental and optometry are the two things that are like dodgy to get covered here. But at
Hmm.
least we have every other thing that I'm not gonna die. I can go to my doctor and be like, oh, like I'm bleeding out of my ass, can you do something? And they can
Yeah.
actually do something without asking for thousands of dollars from me.
Yeah, I can't imagine, honestly, being in America with like my autoimmune disease and like being sick constantly.
Oh,
And
it would be
you
so
being,
bad, dude.
it would be so scary. I had to go to the doctor yesterday, and I can't imagine like that would have cost me like just for them to like give me antibiotics, and that would have cost me like what, thousands of dollars in the States?
Dude,
Jesus
I would be like
Christ.
about $100,000 or $150,000 in debt after my cancer treatment if I was in
Yeah, it's
America. I don't
God.
know if I would be able to withstand that type of stress
Hmm.
because like I don't want to be like, oh, like I don't know if I would have been even alive, but who the fuck knows, honestly, because this type of financial stress, dude, it does
push you.
influence people to the point where they
Of
could
course.
even themselves because they're so stressed out, not because they feel like, oh my god, I can't pay for. It's more like, god, this is just insufferable. And the fact that people were pissed at Chappell Roan for saying that, I'm like, what, you're pissed, you're pissed.
You're
A
pissed that
whole
she's just
room of rich motherfuckers, and not a single one of them would speak up about anybody else in the industry, people who they constantly bite things off of. By the way, they constantly steal shit from others. Even people there who are like considered to be such innovators in the room, they, even those that are like marginalized and whatever, they are biting from their own people who don't
Mhm.
get a piece of the pie. So what are we talking about here?
Honestly. And it's crazy and absolutely uncalled for. She was being so like polite and kind about it, honestly. Like, are you really? If that were me, I'd go scorched earth. But
Yeah,
no, she was like really honestly way too kind about it, and y'all still want to complain? Jesus
I would
Christ. Like,
genuinely be like, fuck you and fuck you
yeah,
and
fuck
fuck
you.
you over
Fuck you.
there.
I don't
Literally all of you bitches. And I know that the same as with Fiona Apple, my career in the mainstream would have been done right there and then. Because do you know how Fiona Apple, like, she got her first award and she was
Yeah.
like, fuck you people, honestly, like, you kind of suck.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
I know. I love
but
her.
I don't think she even said that. Honestly, she was also really nice and polite about everything that she said, as far as I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but she was kind of being like, "This is like some fake ass shit" kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she didn't say it like this.
Fiona Apple is one of the most calm people ever, and
Mm.
even she got fucked
When
up.
you're not close to the art scene in any way, to the music scene, to the actors, if you don't know anybody who's related in any shape or form to the big corporations that are funding all this shit, you can look at it and be like, well, it's kind of unprofessional. Why would you say it like that and whatever? But then as soon as you start to see those people more up close and you actually find out shit about them, you're like, this is insufferable. Like, all of you are rotten. It would have been at least better if it was like just a few bad apples. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least you can have this, you can have a leg to stand on, to be like, maybe you should be more respectful, maybe you shouldn't bring this up here because this is like an award ceremony, it's a industry event, it's a professional event, whatever, right? But when you have so many people who are so, like, just, it's a nothing burger of a person, how, like, how are you supposed to not say anything, right? Like, it's just ridiculous, you know? I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised that more people are not constantly saying something, because aren't you supposed to be artists? Aren't you supposed to be avant-garde? Aren't you supposed to be thinking about what's going on in your surroundings? Like, come on now.
Right? Honestly. I think
And
about
even
that
their
all the time.
statements are the most fucking lukewarm shit ever. Like, we're in such a bad state of affairs. We should be screaming about this shit, not being like, I don't know, maybe guys, maybe like a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, please,
Seriously.
let's fucking say it how it is at this.
Yeah, let's stand on business, you know? Okay, I don't know too much about Ricky Gervais or whatever if he's done anything wrong, but I just have to mention sometimes when I feel like I need a
His
fucking
speech.
rage quit, I think about him hosting the Golden Globes, his last ever Golden Globes. Dude, the shit he was saying was crazy. Like,
I
when he
loved
was like,
it.
I loved it so much when he was like, when you come up here, just accept your fucking award, thank
And
the
get the fuck
fucking
out.
thank the fucking academy. Don't try and speak some political bullshit because you have never in your life lived in the real world. What the fuck do you know? Just accept your award and get the fuck out. And that was
Sometimes they have
absolutely
to say, sometimes they
uh,
have to say political bullshit, but the problem is that they're saying the things that are not, like, basically they're just suggesting band-aids instead of actually
yeah, he was
solving the issues. They don't
yeah,
want to be too radical, in
no,
quotations.
exactly. But mostly they'll always be like, we gotta donate to young creatives or like global warming or just like such lukewarm ass shit. Shut
Yeah, and
up.
it's like, so
Get
where
that
did it
fuck
come
out of
from?
here.
Where are
Yeah.
the legs growing from, bitch? Quickly.
They don't want to call out the fact that their industry and them being multi-billionaires is what the problem is. You
Yeah,
know, like
straight up,
that's
like,
why I don't
it's
talk.
it's literally, you don't, you know what? Complaining politely and very, very quietly is the most activism they can handle. the most radical politics they can handle. This is the type of shit that they look at and they go, holy shit, this actor or this actress or this singer or whatever, they're just so fringe. Like, it's crazy. Their French politics is just insane. And the most they said was like, maybe we shouldn't kill people. How about that, right? And it's like not even, dude, anything, whenever you actually suggest solutions to things, they go, oh my God, this is some radical shit. You're probably going to kill us all. And it's like, okay, maybe you, but not all. I was going to say something about this Boone guy. What is his name again? Wait, Benson Boone. Don't know his music. Do not give a fuck. He's, dude,
who is this
heard
guy?
He's some kind of Mormon. First of all, how is this guy 22?
No.
He's younger than me. How is he younger than me? He's part of the LDS.
Oh, of course he is.
He went to like, for like a little bit, literally like what, fucking 2 weeks or some shit, to BYU, bitch.
Girl.
And the funniest thing is that like people were talking about how he's biting off of Styles right now. Like he's in his like sparkly unitard shit or whatever the hell. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, he is biting off of him. Obviously, it's 70s aesthetic. This is not like Styles came up with this shit. But he's definitely trying so hard, this white guy thing where you're trying so hard to like make people think of you as cool by
It's
invoking this imagery of a crazy rocker who's not afraid of being a little feminine or whatever with his fashion choices, which is stupid as balls.
Yeah, please, can we fucking stop? We don't need anyone else. I don't need another fucking Harry Styles, bruh. Like,
dude, I wouldn't give
it.
a fuck. Dude, I don't give a fuck if there's another Harry Styles as long as he's not from LDS Church. Sorry.
Yeah, that's actually...
Who gives a fuck? It's like there's literally a million pop stars and they're all biting off of each other. I wouldn't give a flying fuck and I wouldn't make fun of him for that if he wouldn't be one of those losers.
Yeah, it's actually crazy too, because you know that girl who's like, I forgot her something, Grenwall? She's like a new YouTuber and she's like exposing them. She's like an ex-Mormon.
Oh, okay. I think so. Like the blondie with blue eyes. Well, all of them are kind of like that, but you know what I mean.
I'm like, Lucky Blue Smith? What? The blondie with blue eyes, huh?
I don't know. The fucking Aryan motherfuckers in America, like, they scare me. Why are you so weird?
I know. I just like...
why are you so religious? It's like to the point where you're the worst person imaginable. Not because you're religious, but because your religion is so violent to everyone but you. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, if you like really like go to her channel and watch it, or even just go on Wikipedia and read about it.
This Boone boy... First of all, his photo on his Wikipedia page, that's it from 2022. He's trying so hard right now to shed the previous image. And I feel like it's, you know what? I'm
searching him.
Like, I'm like 90% sure that the Mormon church trying to find anyone who could be molded into something that is vaguely cool looking. I wouldn't say that he's cool looking, but he's like he is biting off of Styles, who's very palatable to like a lot of people, because this 70s look, since it's been 50 years since then, people are quite used to this shit and they are already you know, praising everyone like Prince and whatever who was looking who was dressing like this. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't when it comes to music or whatever, but it makes sense that people are so comfortable with it to the point where it's like the easiest way to be subversive in a way that's palatable to literally everyone, and that you're not actually being subversive, but it's just gonna give you this image in the in the tabloids. And I'm 100% sure that LDS has their own group of people who are dealing with their marketing, and they're paying Nara Smith, they're paying this Boone bitch. I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure. I'm just saying, like...
You should name his fandom that, Boone Bitches.
Seriously, I feel like... Boonches.
Boonches! Take those big boonches.
It's gross. And you know what? Someone posted... I saw this post, and this is how I found out about this guy. I saw someone posting, like, him adjusting himself while he's wearing this suit. And I was like... And someone was like, oh my god, him adjusting. And I was like, okay, ew. What's wrong with you?
Y'all are depraved.
I am seriously just like, I'm seriously way too Slavic for this shit. Like, I just cannot understand this. Like, what about it? What about it did you like? What's next?
I'm
He's
sorry.
gonna fucking fish out his underwear from his asshole and you're gonna think that's hot? Like, what's going on? I can't
Ew.
do it anymore.
Why?
What's with your taste? For the love of God, like, can you not? In any case,
What is the fucking reason?
I don't know.
Why?
And the fact that he's already at the Grammys, yeah, he's definitely like being paid for, and he's definitely got a whole campaign behind him. LDS is trying real hard to make their new generation look very attractive to
Yeah,
the
definitely.
youngings. They're trying really hard with Nara and Lucky Blue. They're trying really hard with the Evie magazine, or Eve, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
They're trying really hard with this Boon Bitch. They're
Oh, I
trying
want to look
really
into
hard with
that.
all of them.
I want to look into that magazine actually. We should do an episode on it.
Yeah, and we really need to push back on this shit. And maybe, I don't know, we definitely need someone who is going to be like an easier way for people to get into leftist politics, because this is how you get into right wing pipeline, through people who look okay on the surface and they look
So
palatable
scary.
to everyone. People who are like, for example, younger people who don't find conservative values cool, who are just undecided on everything and they haven't thought about anything yet. They're very moldable, and I think that people are getting into this through this influencers, through music, through all of that kind of stuff. And there's this creator on TikTok who is she makes content about disability and all that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna put her handle on the screen. But she talked about how there is no pipeline for the left, and I was like, sure, but we can still influence it, because the thing is, leftist politics, they require you to do a lot of work.
Hmm.
They are not feelings based, and feelings in the sense of like just going with your negative feelings, about random shit, without
Yeah.
analyzing your feelings at all. Even if someone is not leftist in a really conscious way, and they kind of just fall into it because of their crowd or whatever that they're hanging out with, I still think it's a net positive
Yeah.
than having so many people fall into the right pipeline. That's why I'm never talking about like Hassan Piker in terms of like criticizing him and focusing on criticizing him, because I don't like, there are things that leftist men need to fucking figure out, and this is pretty not normal, but this is a thing that all of our ancestors who were leftists had to deal with as well,
Hmm.
where men are still being men. But at the same time, it's still it's still better than this Nazi bullshit. So we have to figure something out, because also, like, for example, this whole situation with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, Justin Baldoni, I guess. And then
Is
because
that his
their
name?
their whole thing is actually bringing a lot
Yeah.
of people into the right wing pipeline as well.
I know. It's
People are really,
scary.
they're repeating the whole thing with what was her name?
Amber
Yeah,
Heard and Johnny
yeah,
Depp.
yeah. Because they are like, just because a woman is annoying does not mean that she's lying about a guy being a dick. And also, even if I don't really care whether she is at fault or he's at fault, it's really weird that they're jumping on her throat
Yeah.
just because. And especially because the thing is, a lot of people were saying that the message that he sent her, the voice message, was okay. And when I was reading the summarizing it, I was like, I guess it's fine. But then when I listened to it, I was like, no, that's creepy.
It's
Like,
so like
it's creepy. It is.
it's
Sorry to
cr
say.
it's cringe at the very least.
Yeah, at the very least, it's
It's
cringe.
cringe, but
And also fake
it's
ass shit.
weird.
Like, immediately I'm like, okay, ew. And it doesn't mean that I like Blake in terms of, I wouldn't want to be friends with her, but I also don't want her to be fucking harassed. Can we, I don't know, maybe get a bit of nuance? I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe
It's
get a
just
little
like
bit.
yeah, it's just
All these
another
women who are ready to jump on her throat, I'm like, when was the last time you saw men jumping on a man's throat to protect a woman?
woman.
When
Like
was the last time you've seen that happen?
yeah,
Never.
which
So
is
what
just
are you
like
doing? Do you get paid to do this? Is that why you're so like committed to being annoying? Like, what is up with that?
I know, it's just like And just like the fucking people just like loving him because he's like quote unquote hot is just so infuriating. But anyways, we gotta move on and talk about the wild, wild. We're just like getting. I like how we like go from the most chill topic we could talk about to the most like we just keep getting angry and angrier as we go along.
Wait, what did you want to? What else did you want to?
Oh, I thought we were gonna talk about the Bianca Censori not
Oh, okay, yeah,
censoring
yeah.
anything.
We're gonna cover that quickly too because we're already like at an hour and 10, which is gonna be probably like 50 minutes when I edit it down, but still. Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, which I think you probably have, Kanye West brought his wife Bianca Censori to the Grammys, and she was in a dress, in quotations, which was basically like a capon. What is it called in English?
It was like
Um,
it was. She might as well have just
Mesh.
gone. Yeah, she might as well have just gone nude at that point because it was even. I've never seen mesh that sheer. It was like
Well, she was nude, straight up. That's like if
yeah,
you need to know.
she was
The
just
mesh
wearing
was
she was
it
wearing
was
tights for
basically
the body. Zero
yeah,
denier.
yeah, zero done, yeah. And basically it's a very disturbing video because the thing is when you look at the photos you're like, oh, she just like decided with him, they decided, to do this statement, which is like stupid anyway. We'll talk about why that's still not a
Yeah.
statement, even if it would have been fine, and even if she would have been on in on it or whatever. She was wearing a coat at first, and then she turns around to him, and it's such a creepy video to watch, honestly. And the photographers are taking pictures and whatever, and he's telling her to take off the jacket, like he's kind of like, gesturing for her to take off the jacket, and you can see that she's shaking her head no.
Hmm.
And he's kind of pressing,
Her to do it.
and yeah, and she takes off the coat, she turns around, and she's naked. And this is diabolical on so many levels. Okay, because first of all, to those people who are like it's an artistic or a fashion statement, okay, you stupid. Like, good for you. You don't know anything about fashion nor art, because
Mm.
the female nude is not a new concept. It has always been misogynistic. It has always had bad undertones
Hmm.
until it started to get subverted by female artists, and now we're back to the point where we've subverted it already enough times to the point where now you're just kind of trying to get some kind of attention when your concept is weak as shit. Like, you just don't have a concept to begin with. So you're just hoping that people are going to be offended by the nude body.
Yeah, it's crazy. If even if any like any of you guys can do this, go search up the history of the female nude, and it is quite frankly depressing.
Yeah.
Like,
And also look up the Gorilla Girls, their artwork about do women have to be naked to be at the museum, where they kind of collected data and made posters and stuff like that. They talked
yeah,
about the fact that out of all the paintings, there's like 78% of the nudes are or of the paintings have a female nude in it, and out of all of those people there's only 2% that are female artists in the entire fucking museum. So do you have to be naked to be there? That's the
answers the
only way for
question.
you to
Go,
enter the place, right?
yeah, go look at that. Or honestly, just go back to any, like, go back to our previous podcast because we talk about this constantly and how much we
It's
don't like it.
I think that nowadays, even if you try to do something with the female like nude that's subversive, it's just not landing anymore because it's look, we've done as much as we can possibly do with it to subvert it. Now you're
Hmm.
just being you just now you're just rehashing shit over and over and over
Yeah.
again, and you're just stuck in fucking 18th century. Um,
Hmm.
okay,
I think
19th century, fine.
we're not
Um,
saying like, and we're not saying like, oh, if you're comfortable with showing your body, like that's fine. We're not saying not to. We're just saying don't use I'm being reasonable. Obviously, I'm not telling you to go essay people. You already know our fucking lore, okay? You know about the fucking broom closet story, okay? So you know I'm not saying do not go there, but like,
yeah,
obviously like do what you will, but don't try to say. All I'm saying is don't put this thing of like this is an art, a fashion, artistic fashion statement. Please don't put that. Like, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, because
I'm
as
sorry.
someone who's in the arts, I wouldn't be offended if I saw her naked. I would just be like, okay. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't even look at her, to be honest, because I
But
would be
it's
like, okay,
within,
this bitch again with no fucking concept, no nothing, trying to get attention. Like, we've seen
it's,
coochies and we've seen boobs every single day of the week.
about it within context, especially with all of the fucking free Diddy shit,
Yeah.
Kanye West. And it's so funny because he said in an interview, only people who hate me call me Kanye West. Yeah, so Kanye West, like what he's been saying, it's very concerning for Bianca Censori. It's scary, scary times. Like,
And
I
they're
don't know.
trying again to pull this whole thing of like he's mentally ill. Bitch, get out. Get out. There are limits. There are limits. If he would have been so mentally ill, he would be institutionalized at least a
Yeah.
couple of times already, properly, and had gotten some kind of treatment, but he's not. So we're not like, I am not giving grace to somebody who has all the resources in the world to be sane and he chooses to be insane. And
Hmm.
on top of it all, I genuinely do not think that it's his mental health issues like bipolar making him say that he's a Nazi. He's saying it himself. He means it because he said it multiple times before. He consistently talks about this whole idea of Jewish people running the banks and running the entire world secretly. I just do not understand why people keep on looking for excuses for him, because just imagine if Chappell Roan would have said that.
I know, she would have
She
been
wouldn't have
fucking
a career
crucified.
anymore.
Yeah.
Just imagine anyone. Okay, let's say Beyonce would have said that. If we want to talk about how like, oh, Kanye is just such an icon. Let's take another icon, Beyonce. If she would have said shit like that, there would be very few people who would be protecting her. Even Beehive would have been like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. Like,
Because there's a
questionable.
reason why they like her.
Anyways.
Even though she's like doing questionable things too, it's not Nat's level questionable, I think. Anyway,
Yeah, we don't want to go on too much about that whole business because it's actually
it's
just,
sad
it's sad and
because
it's
Sensori
absolutely,
is being definitely abused, but also it's kind of like a question of, I think also because she's so similar looking to Kim. Honestly, she's like a twin of Kim.
she's
It's
like her
crazy.
clone.
Yeah, and I would say that because of that, this reads like revenge porn to me.
I don't know, it's just sadistic. That's all I can say about it. Because I don't know if you guys remember when they were still married, Kim released this book that was like just her selfies, and I think Kanye West had
Yeah.
some artistic direction on it. And there was like and this was also on her Instagram too, where she was just
Hmm.
posting naked selfies, but she would like send, obviously, like put like a black block.
Hmm.
But even when she was like, there is obviously a pattern. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's obviously a pattern, and even, I mean, dude, it's he's sick in the head. No
Yeah,
one, no
fucking
one,
for sure.
and not even no, actually no, he's just a shitty person. Let's be real. If he would have had even like just a little bit of a heart of
Hmm.
any, like if he had any type of sense in him as a father, he wouldn't be ever even insinuating that P. Diddy is okay, that he needs
Yeah.
to be freed or anything like that. I don't care whether this is his edgelord approach of like a 12-year-old little bitch where he's like, oh, I can say anything I want. I'm a Nazi. Hail Hitler or whatever the hell. He's like what is his name? That guy who was like doing like something content cop or whatever the hell. The guy who
Hmm.
was like iDubbbz, who was for years saying that words are just words and I can say any word I want. So I can say the N word or whatever the fuck and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this type of energy that Kanye is bringing, where he's like, I can say anything and it doesn't mean anything. And it's like, well, you can also just shut the fuck up and it wouldn't mean anything either. So
Yeah.
maybe you should shut the fuck up. How about that?
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, you are a Diddy supporter and you have fucking children, daughters. Like, ugh,
Yeah,
it's
and
disgusting.
it's genuinely. I mean, it's just diabolical because when you think about it, like whenever people are bringing up this bullshit of like words are just words or whatever, at your big age, if you are past the age of 12, I do not want to hear you
I don't
be
want to hear you
this
talk.
stupid. Yeah, I don't want to hear you be this stupid
talk.
ever, because this type of bullshit, it's like kind of like when I posted to my subscribers about my diagnosis and people in the comments were like GG, like good game, and some people were like, I guess I don't know, they were like they were saying this type of shit, like they were kind of like making jokes or whatever, and it's like, I know you're either 12 or you're a dumbass, that honestly it's offensive that you somehow manage to survive day to day. Sometimes I was like talking to some of my male friends, which I don't really have many, to be honest, but when I was talking to them a bit, quite a bit, I was just always so baffled by them telling me about their edgelord era, you know, when they were like going through their teenage years and whatever. And I'm like, I've never had that because I was never stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, I was never stupid.
I was
and
a child
cringe.
at one point, but I've never been cruel and stupid for no reason. I can be cruel when it needs to be done, because sometimes it needs to be done. But overall, in general, I don't really have that in me, that I'm like itching to say some stupid shit for no reason to people.
Yeah, my
He was
coolness.
like, yeah.
My cruelness is always called for.
Yeah, I was literally telling him about the comments that I was getting on my cancer video, and he was like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I was a kid, I would have probably said something like that too, just because I was like, and I was like, what do you mean? Huh?
Then I should
I've never
kill you
said
right
that shit. I've never, not a single time when I was a kid and I was online without supervision, I was doing whatever the fuck I wanted, never did it cross my mind to say something stupid like that to somebody.
That is actually the most idiotic thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
I
and they
would
think
say
it's
that to
normal.
someone.
They
that
just
to
say
someone who
it
has
like
cancer.
casually. Same with guys who are like, yeah, every guy has a Republican era. And I'm like, oh, you mean this Nazi era? You just go through that casually? Motherfuckers, I swear to God. Like, you can't, like, even when you're a literal child, this shouldn't be a thing that's in you.
Anyways, that was dark once again.
Oopsie.
But let's be real, you're kind of expecting it.
What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do if people are acting funky? I gotta say that they're acting funky.
This world is
my God.
obscure.
Listen, let me actually finish it with something funny. I was watching Caleb Heron's So True podcast, and I think I sent you the video of it.
Dude,
maybe I forgot.
that man
I don't know.
makes me laugh so fucking hard.
And he had this this woman on his podcast. Her name is Liz, and like, she's literally, her name is Lisa. She speaks Russian too. And I was like, oh bitch, that's why
She's
I like
me.
you.
That's me though.
Is that me? Is that low-key me? And she was he asked her, he was like, so like, what are your red flags? Because they were talking about like who they would want to date, so they started talking about their red flags in them, you know. And she goes, I'm impatient, I fly off the handle, I'm conspiratorial. And they start fucking laughing so hard, and I was like, isn't that a perfect description?
That is.
I'm
honestly
impatient, I fly off the handle, I'm conspiratorial. It's just wild to fucking say that. Are you kidding me?
That's
I love that. That made me laugh so hard. From now on,
awesome.
I'll keep on fucking saying it, like reference it all the time. Like, I'm impatient, I fly off the handle, I'm conspiratorial. Anyway.
Thanks for listening to the pod, guys. And also, Lisa is almost at her first play button on the main channel.
You guys, yeah.
Please let us know what we should do to celebrate.
What should we do? We should do something fun. You can suggest something. I don't know. We can suggest something.
Suggest something, guys. Let us know what you think we should do. We should do something fun to celebrate. It's a big deal. That's huge. So we can't just sit around and do nothing. Oh, you know what? I will travel to Calgary and we should open the play button together.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, guys, subscribe, like, comment on the pod, please. Please. We need to get Lisa too. Please.
Dude, no, for real.
She's gonna have to let me go.
Life just doesn't want to give me a fucking break since cancer. Like, it just doesn't give me a single one.
Seriously, dude.
Even before then, to be honest, but the cancer time was like, oh, actually, you know what, since the pandemic, I think. But to be for real, since way before then, but I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like taking, like, it was in the negatives before, but from the pandemic, it just went downhill so far that from now on, my happy times they have a different definition now. The Overton window moved so far beyond. the, the norm, to the point where it's like, you know what, that time when I was almost kicked out of my apartment, I didn't have any money to pay for my rent in university, that wasn't that bad actually.
Yeah,
Because at
dude.
least I wasn't dying.
Fucking honestly, that's actually me too. I'm like, wait, that wasn't actually that bad. I remember like literally crying, working till like
Yeah,
midnight, and then
because
having to study.
I was like, I got no money, like I can't get any loan or anything like that, like this is it. And I have to deal with these motherfuckers who are like driving Lamborghinis at school, because I'm in school that's full of rich
Rich
people, because it's
people.
like highly ranked or some idiot
Dude, let me.
shit like that.
I actually have so many fucked up celebrity stories exposing how they're really like. I have a lot of stories like that.
Let's do it. Who cares? It's not like I want to be friends with any
Right?
of them anyway.
Right?
I don't fuck with losers. Even when, and yes, I have a different definition of what a loser is. Sorry to say, some
Yeah.
of us care about integrity more than we do about paychecks. Oh, how dreadful. How dreadful.
Hope you
Anyway,
like the
thank you for
podcast.
listening.
Thanks
Hope
for
you're having a good
listening.
day. And I'm really happy that PK's okay, so I'm gonna go kiss her.
Okay, bye.
Bye.